Adaptations are a dime a dozen these days, especially with books becoming movies. But what about a book becoming a video game? This is my review of Metro 2033 Redux.
First off, a little bit of background information. Based on the book by Russian author Dmitry Glukhovsky, Metro 2033 follows Artyom, a young man living in Russia's metro train system after radioactive blasts wipe out much of the population. Each surviving citizen is forced to live underground in quarantine zones, as the outside is dangerous because of radiation and the monsters arriving in the wake of the apocalypse. When Artyom's home is attacked, he must take a perilous journey through Russia's train system, filled with monsters, Nazis, communists, and even ventures to the surface several times, to deal with other threats and creatures on the way to saving his home and delivering the message of Ranger and Monster Hunter, oddly enough named Hunter. The game definitely has a more action-packed feel than the book, and is positioned as a shooter to keep the audience's attention. Recently remastered along with its sequel, Last Light, in the Metro Redux collection for a new generation of consoles, let's see how this holds up and if journeying into the apocalypse again is worth your time.
The first good thing that this game has to offer is the visuals. There is a definite visual bump from the original release back in 2010. You can really see the textures, especially on the monsters you fight with, teeth, claws, and nails, the monsters that come out at you. And then also the people you interact with. I mean, if you really zoom in close to them when you're playing the game, you can see like their pores and textures, and it really looks next gen. The supernatural element also sets it apart from other post-apocalyptic games such as Borderlands, The Last of Us, Fallout, and the newly released Destiny, which you can check my review out on my channel.
Metro 2033 features two different endings depending on how you play. If you explore a lot and interact with the world, and do not kill human enemies regularly, then the good ending is more and more possible. Not doing this results in a more sinister and bleak conclusion to Artyom's first adventure. Having multiple endings ensures more than one playthrough for players interested in getting the whole story and finding out what happened and what the truth is.
I also appreciate how voice work is, for the most part, solid, except for children. When you play this game and you hear children speak, it doesn't really sound childlike. Just take a look at these clips and see what you think.
Be happy. That's going to be a great surprise for our son.
Okay, I'll draw that. Daddy, when is Mom going to come back? Hey, there's a man at the Black Street waiting for you. I'll guide you there for one bullet. Thanks, let's go.
Now, children are always hard to write for and perform in video games. But, you've seen The Last of Us if you played that, and they got Ellie down, really good, so it's possible. It's just it has to be done right.
As stated before, the game is a first-person shooter with an emphasis on all sorts of weapons. During your adventure, you'll use revolvers, rifles, shotguns, grenades, and even flamethrowers when mowing down Nazis, red communists, and all sorts of demons and other monsters. Upgrading weapons with in-game currency is possible, but limited on how much you can do. The effects are felt, but a more tricked-out and customizable weapon system would have been nice, complete with your own personal style weapons and add-ons, especially with the Redux version recently released. Ammo is for the most part plentiful if you're playing on the Spartan mode. There's also survival mode, which is more akin to the original release.
That was the good. Now for the things that I did not enjoy as much with this. The first thing is, it's very easy to get lost sometimes when you're traversing through the metro station, or even when you have to go to the surface a couple times. The compass is not very helpful. I mean, a couple times I'd be looking at my compass map thing you can pull out, trying to move forward, and it would say, go this way, and then as soon as I go that way, it points back that way, and then I found out, oh, you gotta go up somewhere, and it doesn't point that way, and it really gets frustrating at times, because especially when you're above ground, you only have a limited amount of air, and I died a couple times, ran out of filters, and had to reset the level to get my filters back because of the poor compass system that needs to be fixed. This game's morality system, oh yeah, it has one for some reason, was also not very clear at times. I mean, you wouldn't even know it had one unless, you read through it like I did and kind of looked things up online for information. And then when you get to the end of the game, you notice that there's a good ending and a bad ending, depending on how you played. I mean, it's not like Mass Effect, where it clearly tells you if you're being a good guy or you're being a not-so-nice guy. This, I guess that how you get the good ending is you don't kill human enemies, and it doesn't explain that to you, really, and you have to knock them out rather than shoot them. And I was shooting them, I mean, because it's a shooter, you think you have to shoot them. So you get the good ending by only killing monsters, but if you want the bad ending, you just shoot anything, and it doesn't make that clear, and I felt that was a flaw this game had. It's a shame that shooters like this get ignored in favor of other, more generic shooters like Call of Duty, and they get massive attention. So if you've got time to spare, and you're tired of those kind of shooters, you want to try something a little bit more unique, why not give Metro 23 a try? Or even the original. I mean, I've got the Redux version, but there's the original and the original 360 and PS3. But if you want to try this out, go for it, because it's a lot of fun. A lot more so than Destiny. I thought this was a lot more fun. I mean, I rented Destiny last week for my review last week, and it was abysmal in my opinion. So if you liked this video and you want to see more, remember to subscribe, like, and share.